Hi everyone. Today we wanted to just say a little bit about how to spot the signs of eating disorders, because for lots of people they might not know a huge amount about what eating disorders are or what they kind of look like when they kind of manifest in people. So we just kind of wanted to share a bit about some of those kind of signs and symptoms to look out for, whether it's in yourself, in someone you're caring for. It might be a friend that you kind of notice some changes in their behaviour. So we'll kind of share some of those, but also kind of trying to get across that early intervention is so important, which is why I want to share this with you, because the earlier that people can get help, the better, really. So yeah.
And from my perspective as a carer, I know, and hopefully this will resonate with some of you, that I had my suspicions long before I actually voiced anything at all. The thought that there was something wrong, that potentially something wrong, that B was ill, was such a terrifying prospect for me that I am very aware that I buried my head in the sand. I didn't want to face it. I remember looking online and actually going to the library at one point to see if there was anything that, and I was just kind of too terrified, really. I saw some statistics and just thought, no, I don't want to go there. I'm going to pretend that everything's okay. And fortunately, I didn't do that for too long, because I realised that actually even then I knew that early intervention would be the thing that would stop this, well, hopefully escalating.
And it can be really scary, particularly well, I guess for anyone it was for me. I mean, it wasn't a deliberate choice. I think that's one of the kind of the myths that we always try to bust, is that it's not, eating disorders aren't kind of dieting gone wrong necessarily. For me anyway, it was something that I was totally oblivious to until I was actually diagnosed. So actually looking out for some of the signs in the people around you can actually be really helpful, because it might be that they haven't got a clue either. So some of the signs and symptoms that we wanted to kind of talk you through were the following. So there's obviously around kind of the behaviours around eating themselves, so eating more, less or more. Changing behaviours around food, so it could be that people avoid eating out with other people or around other people, so trying to kind of avoid that interaction, which can be quite uncomfortable. Over exercising, that's certainly something that I got into the habit of. Changes in mood, I became very, very withdrawn, didn't I?
Yeah.
And kind of pulling myself away from all sorts of kind of social interactions, my friendship groups. So there was certainly a change in that kind of behaviour. Other obsessive behaviours, so I guess particularly around food, but it could be around other things as well. And then also the kind of some of the physical symptoms that might be more obvious around kind of losing or gaining weight. For me, obviously you would only kind of notice this if it's in yourself, but my hair started to thin, my periods stopped, all that kind of stuff. So that's perhaps when the eating disorder gets a bit further down the line, but those other symptoms you can really kind of look out for in other people.
The ones I would add in there as well are really cold hands and feet. Always cold, and also a change in body image. So B would always wear big baggy clothes, big sweatshirts, tracksuit bottoms, that kind of thing. And in fact, also a disinterest in clothes as well. I certainly became very aware of that. And I can, of all of those things that B said, I could absolutely say that those are things that happened with us, with B. Also chewing gum a lot. That was another one. And around the exercise particularly. And we had to make some very hard decisions around that. And B did a lot of exercise at school. She was part of the rowing squad. And we had to make the decision that wasn't helpful for her. So it's, none of this is easy, but actually the sooner that you can start that conversation with the person that you love, or even if you're struggling and you're getting a sense of some of these things, it's so important to reach out and talk to somebody that you trust. And that in itself is a huge step forward, absolutely massive step if you're able to do that. Because it's something that's just come to mind that my grandmother used to say was, a problem shared was a problem halved. And it's so true that if you can talk to somebody, then you're not going to feel so isolated in this, whether you're caring or whether you're going through this yourself.
Yeah. And of course, like, if you do feel like you maybe have an eating disorder, or you suspect someone else does, then it is really important to kind of get in touch with your GP to talk about it as well, so that they can kind of get that process started on the medical side. But also, like, we're here as well if you ever want to reach out and chat to us about it, if you have questions or you're not sure. We've been through it, so we know what it's like. So we're here as two pairs of ears.
Yes.
So yeah, but do get in touch.